Yeah, for me, the big turning point was like I came to realization like as an Asian person in America, like I've always been treated differently throughout my entire life, and like if I'm not helping other marginalized communities also stick up and defend themselves, like who's going to help me when it happens for me as well? So it's this crazy thing of like, oh hey, regardless of how we view these laws or how we what the left and libs are doing versus the right, it's like we need to help each other in our communities first and foremost and build stronger communities. That's like the best thing you could possibly do.
Welcome, everyone, to the A Better Way to a podcast. This week we've got that tattooed guy, PDX, also known as Tank Pig, a trainer with the Shuten Defensive Group. Is that right?
Yep,
are you a
Shuten
trainer,
Defensive.
or are you one of the founding?
I'm actually one of the founders and the head trainer. Right now, It's just myself. My buddy who is working on this with me is actually over in Ukraine right now, providing aid.
Oh boy. Is he okay? Is he safe? Or
yeah, he's good. We actually just talked a bunch last night.
Okay, cool.
That's awesome. So you've got, so in your bio for your group, it says Asian and veteran-owned firearm and medical training, building better communities in Cascadia and beyond, with over 25 years of firearm handling experience and training between your instructors. So I know you have a military background.
They do also. So cool. Like between the two of us, because I've been handling firearms since like I was 8, which is usually typically huge red flag of like, oh, this person says like, oh, they have, background in since they're a kid, which means that they can't shoot, right?
Yeah, it's a training
because you see that all the time at the range, and then they do shit like super unsafe. I originally started instructing people back in like 2010, and then just doing like small one-on-ones and stuff like that, just as something to do. And then more recently, it got back more into it and was like, hey, I can actually do this and like help people, because you know how mutual aid, especially in the past 2 years, has grown into such a huge thing. It was like, this is something I can do that I know how to, between like classroom management skills and actually how to shoot and how to explain concepts. And it's worked out pretty well for me so far. But yeah, he's over in Ukraine and I would be too, except if I didn't have a house and a dog. Because people with like javelin experience right now, super valuable over there apparently.
Is that you? You have javelin experience?
Yeah, I have javelin experience. He does as well. So it's one of those things that like, oh, hey, we need people to actually show others how to effectively use these, since that's what we're shipping over, like best anti-armor weapon in the game right now.
Especially given your experience as a trainer, because like teaching is its own skill, right? Like,
yeah.
Whether it's like guns or javelins or I don't know, math.
Yeah, being able to break down and describe concepts to people. And then also with that, for shooting specifically, classroom management's obviously huge, where like, if it's just you and you have 16 people you're training, having them all on a firing line at once isn't safe, first of all. So you don't want to do something like that. You want to keep the student to teacher ratio as low as possible. So, managing that firing line, pairing up or like tripling up people so that you can give, more one-on-one time, even if it runs a little bit longer, you're actually able to see what people are doing and go through and correct them as it happens. Because that's what they're paying for, right? Or that's what they're showing up to classes for, is to get that attention and to see what they're doing specifically. So,
yeah, nobody wants to pay like, some of these classes from these like celebrity instructors are like $400, and nobody wants to pay for that and then get like a university classroom lecture, with it's like
right.
The guy never even looks you in the eye. So.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go to Thunder Ranch before that Clint sells it, because that's actually not too far from me.
Wait, Clint's selling it?
Yeah, it's on the market right now for like $10 million.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess he's getting up there in age. He's got to
retire
eventually. Yeah, holy crap.
Age is just a number.
Right?
Yeah, watch how loud you say that, or in which direction.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as I hit 30, my fucking body felt like it was starting to fall apart. So, you know.
Why is that? Like, I tell all my friends who were older than me told me as soon as you hit 30, your body is going to feel different. And I was like, nah, fuck off. Like, that's not the case at all. And then as soon as I hit 30, it's like hangovers were worse. My back hurt every morning when I woke up. I slept worse. All of a sudden, I feel like I have aged 20 years in a year. Like, I'm only 31 years old, and I feel like I'm 51.
I feel bad for you guys. You know, hangovers notwithstanding, hangovers are way worse. But like, other than that, I feel better than I ever have. Probably because I'm actually like exercising now, and I didn't used to do that.
Way to call me out, Andrew.
Yeah, right. Jeez.
Yeah. Get your, you know, if your
God,
back
I should
hurts,
go to the gym.
yeah, if your back hurts,
absolutely
get your
go to the
ass
gym.
strong. That's all it is. You know, just get some
Right.
glutes.
Just do some plays, strengthen up your core.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
easy.
So
not
you got out of the Army. How did you transition into training people without immediately turning into a bro vet?
I'll be honest, I was probably a bro vet back in like 2010 or something like that.
No.
I still
don't
like
believe you.
I got a beard, I wear Oakleys and shit, but that's because I get a fat fucking military discount on that shit.
Oh yeah,
But
GovX.
like, say what?
GovX. Sorry.
Yeah, GovX or just like Oakley SI, like
Oh,
40% off, like all day, every day.
That's awesome.
So,
Well,
and
that's
it
rad.
works on my prescription stuff too. So it's like, oh, hey, I might as well because this shit's expensive anyways for prescription lenses.
Yeah.
Because it's stigmatism, and if you're shooting a red dot or like a holographic sight, mine's to the point where like if I don't have glasses on and I look through an EOTech, it's super fuzzy and it looks like absolute trash. So it's like, oh yeah, hey, I got prescription lenses for everything, for shooting glasses and, you know, sunglasses and all that. But family prior service. My grandpa was in the Air Force, dad was in the Army. He did a bunch of more high speed shit than I ever did. I got medically discharged, and it was literally in like I've always been kind of disenfranchised with like politics as a whole because nobody it ever feels like actually represents me, especially not liberals. And then, you know, I was always more kind of like libertarian, small government, locally, not the whole like chuddy, like, oh yeah, state rights. And
You're right.
the
Yeah.
Civil War was about state rights, which is like, that's a huge fucking dog whistle
Yeah.
of what were the states' rights that they were fighting for. But
Yeah.
like more decentralized, like smaller areas taking care of itself. With, you know, larger funding from a federal government, that makes more sense to me because who knows what needs to happen to a community than that community itself.
Well, and that's
Exactly.
that's
Except
the
for gun
essential
rights.
libertarian. Yeah, right. That's the essential libertarian idea, though, isn't it?
It should be, except like it's not.
That's the key word. Is it should be.
Yeah.
Um,
Andrew, didn't you send me?
anarchism and minarchism are their own thing. You know, and I never understood that. I never understood like why. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I do understand why, but it's frustrating that like so many sort of like disparate ideologies get lumped under the libertarian umbrella, and the discourse online at least is dominated by ANCAPs.
Yeah, so what I've found, and I talked to one of my friends about this, is like, how would we label ourselves? And it's like, maybe I'd probably like currently align more with anarcho-communism because I see how failed the fucking U.S. like
Right.
system is in terms of actually like caring about individuals and minorities and marginalized folks. But as a whole, it's just like now it's best to just be like, hey, I'm anti-authoritarian, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
really though.
Yeah, well, that's a huge umbrella. Like that is something that I feel like you can get a lot of people under your wing with because unless you're going far right or very far left, you know, I think anyone can agree that we want to be anti-authoritarian, and then you know you could dish out the specifics after that.
yeah, and because like Ukraine specifically has like made a bunch of like leftists show their whole ass in terms of being like a simp for, you know, Russian communism, which is still authoritarian. And it's like, oh, what about the, you know, they come up with these like crazy excuses like Azov Battalion, like, hey, fucking fuck them.
Yeah.
But also with that, it's like that's not representative of all Ukrainian people. Like I've lived
the
in
whole
Poland.
country.
I've dated Ukrainian women when I lived there. I have several Ukrainian friends that I know from living in Poland, which is literally right next door because I was there for
Right.
a year. And it's like they aren't bad people, and it's just like the same thing happens though for all Russians. Like all Russian people aren't bad. I have friends who are in Russia who have like faced criminal charges for protesting against this shit.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like it's not black and white on either side, but there's like these shades of gray that people aren't aware of with, you know, these people, like the conscripts, like that sucks for them, but they're also getting deployed there, and they, you know, if they're in combat, like that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know,
And it sucks for any.
it sucks for
Sorry.
everybody. Like, but with that specifically, like the people who are at home and you know, people who are like, oh yeah, we need to do a no-fly zone over Ukraine, or like we need to put more sanctions on Russia. Like those sanctions are affecting more normal people than it is, you know, Putin or anybody else,
And
because
the oligarchs. Yeah.
yeah, like they got tons of money. Like changing that's not going to really matter. They'll just switch some regulations around, like forcing Germany to pay in, you know, rubles now.
Yeah.
Because Germany
For
gets
their
a
gas.
huge percentage of their gas from them. But you know, most of this stuff like war, and people are like, oh, World War III, and like really rooting for it. Like these are people who have never had to like train or prep for combat, or like, you know, have friends that have been lost in combat that
Yeah.
will like run their mouths about this shit. You know, like the American Civil War Part 2 or World War III. Like they're just, you know, doomer for a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog's like, I think a delivery truck's here.
Ruger's got
Oh,
something
don't
to
worry
say.
about it.
He agrees.
Yeah,
Yeah, you might hear mine too.
but
Should I
yeah,
start bringing my
it's
dog
crazy.
down in the basement?
Say what?
Sorry, no. I said, should I start bringing my dog down in the basement
You should
yeah.
with me?
Dog-
just have a dog
yeah.
party.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, we should
This
let
is a
them on
dog
the podcast.
podcast now, not about gun rights or politics.
Yeah, that is it's cool that you say that, because I think a lot of people romanticize war in general, and specifically those who have never been part of it. And not that I have, but I think I know enough people to know. And I mean, we all have social media and we all have access to the internet to know that we don't want it, and it wouldn't do anything good for us. And that was like, you know, like you said, Second American Civil War, the people who were rooting for like the Boogaloo and things like that. You know, I used to think that was cool back when it was a meme, until people were starting to take it seriously, and you
Yeah,
know,
but you
we're
just
talking
have to,
about
like, you
well,
just have to
people were
think
starting
about,
to
what that means. you know?
exactly,
Like,
and you have
And
people
it never just stops at like, oh, it's a conflict between these two ideals, right? It always branches
No.
off, and there's always
Yeah.
other conflicts based upon that. So it's just like, as a marginalized person, as a minority, it's like, you know,
yeah, like who's sticking up for you? You know.
you're
Yeah,
going to be somebody's
exactly.
target. Like that's just the way that it's going to shake out, unfortunately. And,
Yeah.
and because somebody is going to get together with their racist asshole friends, and they're going to say, you know, this is my time to be the white nationalist, or
Yeah.
the you know, the Uberwaffen kind of militia that we've been trying to get together, and now we can make it a real thing, and that's it's,
Yeah,
you know,
and-
it's great for people who live in cities that have friends who support them, but there are tons of marginalized people who live in these rural areas, and that would not work out well, unfortunately.
and people also think like, oh, hey, like it's going to be, you know, this uniform conflict with like, you know, Proud Boys and shit like that now. And so it's like, that's not how this works out. Like, that's not how this would happen at all. And not to get like too like hypothetical, but you know, even minorities who are like right leaning and stuff like need to recognize like, oh, hey, like this is actually a lot about race for them.
Yeah.
But
Some
for
people,
marginalized
definitely.
folks in general, like they need to work together and to, you know, stick together rather than kick out that ladder from under them. You know, what was it? Niemöller or whoever. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not socialist. They came for the trade unionists, and then they came for the Jews, and then they came for me because there was no one left to speak for me. Like, it's such an important thing that a lot of people like ignore. Like, yeah, they'll post, you know, inspirational quotes and shit like that, but they won't realize like, oh, hey, as somebody who's marginalized, whether it's LGBTQ, BIPOC, AAPI, we need to kind of like stick and work together and make sure that our spaces are inclusive. And then you saw my post about inclusivity being like, it's not just tolerance of them, because a lot of like leftist spaces seem to just be like tolerant of people different, versus like, hey, this is actually for you to do these things. That's why I hold like specific classes for, you know, LGBTQ folks, so that they're around other people who, you know, they'd be comfortable with, or if they don't want, as a whole, like I don't train chuds. That's not my, like, the people who show up to my classes. But at the same time, like, holding classes for these specific groups that are marginalized or often targeted. Like, I had a sex workers class that I had, I think, like 16 or 18 people show up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because, like, Portland has a huge population of sex workers, like dancers, bikini baristas, all that stuff. And full-on sex work. Like, by all means, oldest profession in the book.
Yeah.
Do it. Like,
well, that's a specific set of considerations, right? For carry and for not just carry, but also for how they would expect to have to defend themselves.
Yeah, I mean, like 70% chance of being like assaulted or something like that. When I looked at the breakdown of like your chance of facing violence in these fields of work is very high. Yeah. Like bikini barista getting robbed has like increased dramatically versus like bank robberies, you know, because people view them as these easy targets. And then also with that specifically being able to answer, you know, some local laws in terms of concealed carry and, you know, the right to defend yourself in these situations for their specific situations, which carry over between like all bikini baristas or for, you know, dancers or anything like that.
Right.
Because safe storage is a law in Oregon, which basically if your firearm isn't safe and secured, if it is actually stolen, then you're held liable for it, which is terrible, right?
For what happens with it?
Yeah. So you could be potentially held liable for that. So if your firearm's stolen, like you can definitely be sued by, you know, if a murder happened from that victim's family, because you didn't safely store it, and you could be added into that lawsuit.
Which, like, for a bikini barista, it's like when you're working, where do you keep your gun?
And,
like,
so
different
situations and things like that, where it's like I try to explain the best I can of like, hey, so you want this on you first and foremost if you're concealed carrying. Otherwise, it needs to be in a store locker. Dancers would have like a more difficult time for that, so you know if they have lockers or anything like that they can physically lock to keep their actual like person or whatever. I don't recommend purse carry, but you don't have a lot of options sometimes as a female, right? Like what you can wear. It's not like you're going to go on stage with a filster on and, you know, your holster and shit, right? So,
unless
filter,
maybe.
this is a plug for you
just
if you want to make a yes.
But you know, so you have limited options, and you have to be kind of aware of things like that for specific people in their workplaces, and like what's allowed, what's not. Oregon has laws which if you're in an establishment that has alcohol, or if you've been drinking, you can't or you shouldn't have a firearm because liability once again.
Is that at all? Because I know Connecticut has you can't blow out like a .04 or above while carrying, but you can be in a bar with a gun.
For me, it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't really drink, so it doesn't impact me as much. But if I know that I'm going to be going out and drinking, I probably wouldn't carry anyways. Just because
it's a smart choice.
So it depends on a person's, like, if they have a no gun sign, like, and I'm not drinking, I'm still going to fucking carry because.
But you have to appreciate that extra bit of liability should you get caught.
Yes. And so, you know, you need to be aware and present for like, hey, this is a potential situation. If I've been drinking, I probably shouldn't be carrying at a bar. If I am not drinking, you know, is it federally or state illegal? Like, no, it's only courthouses and, you know, federal property, schools, things like that you can't carry on. So, yes, I'm well within my legal right, even if they have a sign that says, no, don't, you know, no weapons in here. But Washington also has some like goofy ass open carry laws too that I wouldn't open carry at a bar. Like that's
on the short list of places not to open carry. That's
right,
probably close to the top.
I'm not a huge fan of open carry, anyways. It's just like
like from a tactical standpoint, that's not a good choice to make.
Like you can draw faster from it, but also practice carrying concealed. I'm also a bigger dude, so like I don't carry an appendix and waistband. I do 4 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Me too.
The iron sights.
I thought I was the only one.
No.
I thought it was just me.
Like, and I tell people, like, experiment, like, figure out what works for you in terms of like how you conceal carry. You know, because that stuff matters. It's like testing out your gear. You can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna buy this and it's gonna work perfectly for me because, you know, this other gun influencer has this shit. It's like, no, figure out what works for you. And
Yeah.
No, but you gotta get the insta cred.
oh my
Absolutely.
gosh, gotta post those like spicy quote unquote takes of like, oh hey, just get a Glock and an AR-15, or don't spend a whole lot of money on your pistol and rifle and instead spend that on ammunition. It's like, I trust somebody with 500 rounds of like quality training versus like somebody who has 2,000 rounds and then just mag dumps into a berm, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So
And-
you
No,
can go, Andrew. Oh, you go.
You
Oh,
go.
oh man. Okay.
You first, Rochambeau.
So I think it's cool that you have classes that specifically target groups that tend to not be highlighted in the gun space. Like you really, I mean, you can't Google fundamentals for pistol shooting for sex workers and find classes that are open and not just like available but welcoming to people like that. Or
I think what he's asking is what's that like, you know?
It's cool. I met a lot of really great people. The thing with that is it's just like, it's not specifically like, oh hey, I'm gonna like target these groups because and try to make money off of it. Like I make a decent amount at my actual job. I've offered, you know, several times like, hey, if you have an issue posting this, like I'm trying to do it at cost for especially marginalized people where it's like ammo inclusive, which adds up. You know, if I have 10 people each shooting just 100 rounds, that's $350 right there in just ammo costs, plus the range fee, you know, plus my RSO pay, plus my gas to get out there.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I want to like try to make that break even as much as possible, if not like just make my loss as minimal as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
Basically, like my 201 classes for carbine specifically, because I like running around with a rifle and I know how to explain these concepts to people really well. At least I think I do, and a lot of people have really good receptive things to say about my 201 classes.
The proof is in the pudding, right? Like,
yeah, and they're enjoying it. Like I still talk to these people, like nobody feels like I wasted their money. Plus, it's like $180-$200 versus you look at some other places that they charge $300-$400 and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You know, they got bridged optics on their pictures and like all this other kind of goofy shit, or they're like, you know, they're leaning back as they're shooting in a 201 for the instructors, or like doing that super like hunched down military form.
Yeah.
I still shoot like that occasionally just because it's comfortable for me, because I like putting kind of weight on the front end of the rifle. But, you know, it's so much of rifle shooting is like what's comfortable for the person,
exactly.
Right? That's why we have AR-15s that, you know, adult Legos, that bullshit of, hey, you can put on with what for like vertical foregrip or angle foregrip or hand stop that you want. Obviously, within federal laws, don't put a vertical foregrip on a rifle less than 26 inches. Otherwise, ATF might come for your dog.
Well, don't get caught, anyways.
Don't do
right?
that. Yeah,
just kidding. Don't do it.
My philosophy is just like, I'll play within your rules. Like, I'll SPR my shit.
Yeah.
I'll pay NFA tax stamps to, you know, get my cans and wait, 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to go in public.
It's not
you know, like I want to go.
Exactly.
To, like,
you don't want to have to worry
be, like,
about
making illegal SBRs at home and then never be able to take them out in public.
The one FUD who shows up is like, "Show me your papers."
But a lot of people just like, I'm just gonna let it sit in my safe. Like,
yeah, exactly. No, that's
like they don't take their guns out anyways.
Yeah.
But I met a lot of really great people, both through like AYF and then just doing it locally. Started getting more into competition, which has been a lot of fun. There's some really good people in there. Last time we did competition, which was last week, there was literally like a group of 6 of us who have all gone through training with me. And a lot of that is just like, for them, go slow and make sure you're doing this safely, and then from, pick up speed. But there's a lot of hobbies inside shooting that like typically aren't very friendly to those people.
Yeah.
But
what do you mean when you say that?
You look at the demographic of, previous gun owners in America, and it's like huge percentage being white old men, right?
Yeah.
Recently, with that shifting over to more AAPI, BIPOC, LGBTQ folks owning pistols and rifles, like you have these trainers that have been certified before and have been training for like 20 years who are literally just like white old boomery men or fuddy men, you know. That's not a very inclusive atmosphere. Like, yeah, they might keep politics out of it, but it's not inclusive, right? Like, they're tolerant of those people showing up versus like, hey, come out, get good training, I'll respect your pronouns, like, I respect you as a person, you deserve to have this stuff and these resources available for you, and I'm not here to like racket or like, you know, just like reap the benefits or
monetize somebody else's struggle.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, hey, like, I appreciate the people 100% who pay full price because it allows me to keep doing this, and then it also allows me to be like, hey, if you have issues being able to afford this stuff and you are a marginalized person or somebody who's, you know, potentially targeted, or like, hit me up. Like, that's what it comes down to. It's funny too because I've done a LGBTQ class that was completely free, booked out within like 2 days, but with that, only like a third of the people showed up.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, because the class was completely free. So you also have to take a look at it from a business standpoint of like why people don't value this if they don't have a monetary incentive to actually go through
very true.
Go to it. But if you have them do an extra step of, hey, I have to reach out to them and be like, and I don't ask any questions. If you say you can't afford it, you can't afford it. I'll send you a discount code. Or if it's like something you really want to do and you're a marginalized person, like, I'll cover the cost of the class for you. Yeah. Or there are people that I know who are donating to cover that cost as well.
Right. But you want to know first that they're going to show up.
Yeah. You know, otherwise, it's like you're taking that slot from somebody else. Like, I could care less if people don't show up. It makes my job easier, right? Like, the less students I have, the easier my job is. It's less people I have to pay attention to, the faster I can get through stuff and give more people one-on-one attention. But you're taking that slot away from somebody who could be using that, and that's the part that really, like, kind of irked me.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I'll charge a nominal amount that basically covers my costs and stuff like that. And from there, you know, if you can't afford it, hit me up, let me know, and I will give you a discount code, send you the RSVP and all this other stuff for that. And it's the honor system. If you say you can't afford it, you can't afford it. I'm not going to ask.
Yeah, you're not going to ask for like tax
send me a bank statement that shows that your account's been overdrawn in the past 30 days. Like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, take people at their word. Like, there's no need to be scummy.
You hope
about
people
it.
would
Like,
be
if
cool about it.
Testing. Means tested firearms training.
Right? That would be so. Oh my god, could you imagine the shit show for that? But like, if you're marginalized, like, you deserve quality training. That, you know, I think posting pictures of like, hey, this is what I've done in 201, this is what people have learned, testimonials of people who've shown up to classes, or just like photos of people who are new shooters on the range. That's kind of speaks for itself that, like, hey, a little bit of training goes a long ways, because how many of us go to the range and you see people's targets all shots low to the left, or it just looks like Swiss cheese, or like a shotgun blast,
really,
you know, all the time. And people think, though, that like this is okay. They don't know what good is, and they think that, you know, there's no other field though where you can be like, practice these things at home, watch these YouTube videos, and practice it at home, and you can think you know, it's good. You can't do that with pretty much anything else, right? But with firearm training, you totally can, where people think it's totally fine to like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm going to do these drills at home, dry fire, and I'm going to be totally ready for these scenarios. You know, like, well, you know, there's nothing else.
I do feel like dry firing at home is better than nothing, right? If you can't
for sure.
find training,
but if you don't know what you're actually looking for with that dry fire, and like what my grip pressure actually needs to feel like, what my sights like, you can use like a pink rhino or, you know, one of those laser training devices, which is great. But if you don't know specifically, like, hey, what I'm looking for is as I press this trigger, my dot doesn't move at all, or my sights don't move at all. That means that as I do this, like, I'm not influencing the gun.
Yeah.
Because you want the least amount of influence as you're pulling that trigger. And a lot of people don't think about that, but they'll, like, you know, watch a Grand Thumb video or like, you know, T-Rex arms and shit.
Oh, right.
And be like, oh, hey, yeah, like, I'm totally ready to, or God, Project Gecko. Like, their room clearing stuff isn't actually that bad, but hey, first of all, don't fucking clear a room by yourself, because that's how you get got. But like, hey, I watch these YouTube videos, I'm gonna go practice clearing my house and be totally prepared for this shit. It's like, no, that's not how this works out. Like, you need to have the basics and fundamentals for down first, where it's like you can actually hit what you're fucking aiming at, which a lot of people don't have.
Well, and that's
to be able to like start progressing into like more dynamic stuff.
Yeah, that's also.
But like you can't be like, hey, I watched a medical YouTube video, I know how to use a tourniquet, right? Or like I know how to save a life or do CPR from watching this video. But with gun culture, it's completely different. Where it's like, oh yeah, hey, just watch these resources and practice at home. Versus
watch
like
these Magpul Dynamics DVDs.
Those are the shit back
I
know.
I pirated those and I watched them with my roommates.
That's what's what were you gonna say, Andrew?
I was just saying it was like a whole thing. We were very high speed LARPerators with our our first guns in our college apartment.
That's great. That's what's so cool about going to classes, though, and especially when you have classes that you make people feel so comfortable at, that, it's very easy to, because I did it, getting a gun and then going straight to YouTube and looking up room clearing videos and all these high-speed drills and doing them in your house or your apartment and thinking, oh, yeah, I could totally do this. But then you go to the range and you have wonky groups and, you can't reload effectively and practice the fundamentals, and it's humbling. It makes you realize that you need to work on the fundamentals and you need to start pretty much from square one before you do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, especially with gear too. You'll see these people drop like thousands of dollars into gear, right? Or like thousands of dollars into a rifle, or like some Gucci ass pistol, which I'm guilty of. Like I own several Gucci pistols, but with that, like, if you don't know how to use it, those things that are like beneficial, like they go to waste. And it's, get the reps in with, something that's well within your price range, and then work on either upgrading that or saving that money and, buying it later. Something that's better that will meet your kind of skill level. Because a lot of people will get like these expensive pistols and then not knowing how to shoot it. Like having a lighter trigger, like, yeah, it makes you have less influence as you're actually pulling that trigger back or pressing the trigger, whatever you want to call it. Either way, it's pretty much correct. It's semantics at that point, but it allows you less influence. But at the same time, like, if you can't keep your sights on target, or like you're flinching downwards because you're anticipating recoil, it's not going to help you with that.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's one of those things where it's just like, cost skill level analysis of where you're currently at. The biggest thing that I want to do, though, in terms of training people, is to have them be able to self-diagnose, right?
That's huge.
Like having people show up to the same like intro class over and over, like, hey, that's money in my pocket. That's not what I'm here for. Like, I want them to be able to like leave with a skill set of like, oh, hey, I'm shooting low and to the left, I'm gripping too fucking hard with my right hand, oh, I'm dipping straight down, I know that I'm about to anticipate that recoil rather than just let the pistol do its thing. Having them be able to do that stuff is far more important than like pay me for a class.
Right.
And then with that, they remember it because they're self-teaching themselves continuously. Every time they go to the range, they realize like, oh, hey, this is what I was doing. And then once they get to a point where they're very proficient at that, they can notice their friends shooting like that. Like, oh, my friend's shooting low and to the left. This is what, Tank Pig said at his class, and this is what I did to fix that. Adjust my grip pressure, more palm pressure versus like with my right hand. I always, like, in my one-on-one classes, I go around and I basically shake everybody's hand. I'm like, very, very light, like a little bit firm, just like make that that kind of cup. And then I'm like, this is how hard I hold a pistol. Like, I'm not death gripping it. I'm just like, my hand's very relaxed on there for my right hand. And I'm like, this is what my other hand does. And, I go and I sport hand and I put my pressure with my palms. And they're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, that's how you hold a pistol.
Oh, that's
like,
cool. Like,
that's
you
cool.
actually
having a tactile feel of like, this is what it needs to feel like. And then I have them do it to me. And it's just like, no, more palm pressure, more palm pressure, more palm pressure. Because a lot of people will do that and they're like afraid they're going to hurt you with their palms. It's just like, no, just like push those together like a vice. And that's worked out pretty well versus, like 80%, 20% or something like that, which
nobody knows what that is.
Different for everybody. Yeah, nobody knows what that is. Just like when you go to the range and you hear somebody say, just aim. Like, have you explained how sights work and like how they align?
Look at your sights, bro.
is it a 6 o'clock, hold, or is it what kind of sights are you using? So it's one of those things with it. Like, people don't know how to actually describe and like explain these concepts. But if I can get people to a point where they're proficient enough, and that should be the goal of anybody shooting, right? Is like they should be proficient. If you own something that's as dangerous as a firearm, your minimum skill level that you want to be at is like, I'm comfortable with it, I'm proficient with it, I can aim and put holes where I'm aiming at. From there, it's like, do you want to do competition? Do you want to start doing like long range precision shooting? What do you want to do? And then the world opens up. The world's your oyster. That's when shit gets real fun, right? That's when you start doing VTAC and you do move and shoots. But a lot of people want to just jump right into the high speed shit, right, without getting the basics. Yeah. And you see that all the time with like people ringing steel at 25 yards with an AR. Like, that shit's not hard. It kind of like looks cool in an Instagram video, but at the same time, like, what are you actually developing when you do that? Yeah. Or they'll do like even more dangerous and even more stupid is like live fire, shoot, move, communicate drills, right?
Oh gosh, yeah.
You do not need to actually have a fucking rifle to do shoot, move, and communicate. Like, being a great shot is one thing, but like the thing that actually fucking matters is being able to communicate as a team. And I don't do classes for this stuff because like I'm not a tactics teacher.
Yeah. Tell me how many times in the Army though that you practiced that without your rifle, or you might have practiced it with your rifle, but
air gun or handguns, like your hands in the air and just going bang, 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 bang.
Oh my god! And that's the thing. Like, you feel so stupid doing that, but you're ingraining muscle memory. Andrew, because I seriously, like, I think it's something that you only see in movies or in like third world countries, but the U.S. military, the greatest funded military in the world, because of the training that you get from it, will run down ranges and say bang, 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 bang. Like, and
because if you can't hear somebody yell moving or set as you're saying bang, 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 you aren't going to be able to hear them over gunfire. Yeah. Right? So it teaches like people to articulate and to project their voice and get that like nice, like drill sergeant voice, like fucking loud, but not like screaming.
Yeah. Frog voices.
Which is important, like how to actually project your voice, especially over gunfire or anything else. But like, you can practice these motions dry. You don't even need a gun, like land nav and stuff like that, which is cool. Like, you don't need a gun for that. Communication, you don't need a gun for. How do you move? You don't need a gun for. But like SWAT hands, or like, your hands in the air, like mimicking a rifle, or like together like a pistol, like that stuff is actually invaluable because you're working on those like body positions and those movements without actually like increasing the danger exponentially from having a live rifle,
Yeah, I believe
it. Like, literally, it should be like communicate, move, and shoot. Like, those are the order of things. Like, if you can't communicate, your friend's going to get got, you're going to get got. That's not good. If you could be a great shooter, but if your buddy's not actually like putting fire down range, like suppressive fire, like, that's really important. If you're there, like, my buddy says he's moving, I'm now providing suppressive fire, and I'm like shooting at this slow pace, like, that's not good. Yeah, you want to be basically raining hell down on whatever's downrange and is a threat to you, to keep them covered so that your buddy can actually get to a safe position. Or like, they don't know the order of things. Like, I'm saying I'm set, but I got a mag that only has 10 rounds in it because like I didn't reload yet.
Right.
If you're saying you're set and you got to do a reload while your friend's moving, like, you're fucking up, right? Because that's a bad situation for your buddy who now doesn't have any covering fire.
I think a lot of this highlights the fact that people really try to get in over their heads faster than they should, and unknowingly, because you don't know.
And there's no shame in that. Like, admitting that you don't know, like admitting your own ignorance. There's things that I'm ignorant about, competition being one of them, because they have a completely different set of rules in terms of how you move. Right? I'll be honest, like, my very first competition, I did DQ'd out of because I broke 180. The firearm was still in a safe direction. It would never flag to anybody. But when I did a reload, it moved past the 180. Yeah. Even though there was targets behind me that I was moving towards, but it broke my 180 and my parallel line from that, even though I was going to be moving backwards and shooting targets that it didn't even reach at that point. So, like, I'm ignorant of that stuff, but it was a learning experience for me. Now what do? I watch literally fucking videos of, like, PCC, like, movement for USPSA and, like, ISPCA, because, like, I want to know how they do it, and how they do it safely and how they do it quickly, because like it's totally gamifying my movement, right? Like I'm never going to move like that in an actual situation where it's like I'm holding this over my shoulder with barrel down range and running the wrong direction, right? If I have a sling on and it is like a combat zone, I have that shit slinged and I'm just running straight. So like you need to like realize these things where it's just like, yeah, I'm not infallible. Like I have issues that I need to figure out for these specific things, because like movement in competition is way different than like if I'm actually teaching somebody like, hey, if you have this situation where like you got to move to cover, this is what you actually need to do, right? Like they're completely different, and how you go through and you approach those is very different as well. But competition's like its own separate beast as well.
Yeah, for sure. I've only ever done IDPA, so, and that's like the gamified of the games, you know. That's the most.
You gotta engage it in this order, and you gotta reload behind cover. Like, it's IDPA is like its own. Yeah. I'm doing ASI next month, and then USPSA. I'm starting up PCC competitions because, like, for me, running a rifle is just so much more natural.
Yeah.
But with that, again, like, literally, do we have like a chat or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
You can,
let me post a link to you, then we can describe it. So how they move backwards, like if you have to move immediately backwards, they'll take their support hand and they'll hold the rifle up with basically the muzzle facing downrange backwards behind them, so that they can efficiently and quickly move from like one direction to another without breaking the 180.
Like Naruto running?
No, not like behind them, like over their shoulder.
I just imagine somebody running like with their hands pointed behind them like Naruto.
But with pistol, people do that though, because like they'll keep their arm behind them so that they can run more straight without breaking the 180. You just need to be aware as you bring that back around that you don't break it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's like a whole system of like gamifying your movement. I'm trying to find that.
So for people like while you're looking for that, for people that are looking to get into competition, what would you say they should practice on first? What do you think they should be proficient with first before they get into
being able to hit their fucking target? Being able to put holes where they're that is first and foremost like the most important thing. So the shooter that I posted up that I've been working with for the past month, who's now like shooting out the red in all of her targets, her goal is to do competition. And so it's like, now that we have got to the point where it's like she knows what to do, she knows how to correct and to how to diagnose herself as she's like, oh hey, I'm pulling shots down, it's because I'm not letting the gun just recoil. I literally told her like, hey, so you don't have to pay me for these one-on-ones anymore for just like static range stuff, because that doesn't do you any good. Like we're past that. Like you could put holes in now a month that you've been shooting where you're aiming consistently, and if you aren't, you know how to diagnose that and to fix that. So now it's like next week we're going out and we're practicing moving and shooting. We're practicing reload drills. Awesome. We're practicing these other things. But like if it came down, like her firearm handling has always been awesome. It's one of those things where it's just like, I would feel still comfortable, like not USPSA perhaps, because that's like more go. I'd be more like API or ASI up north in Seattle. Yeah, so Action Sports International.
That's cool.
Yeah, they have, definitely check it out. It's like one of my friends who is a high-speed competition shooter, like, that's like competition for babies. It's like, that's a really good point for people to start off on, because it's like, you aren't maneuvering around stuff as much or like moving backwards as much. It's more like lateral, so left-right movements, or like front or from back to front.
Well, and I just saw that picture that you sent us. For anyone who doesn't know, it's essentially like this guy is running. He looks like he's about to throw his rifle as like a javelin, buttstock first.
Yeah. And so like gamifying your movement is something you have to be aware of when you start doing like USPSA, so you don't break that 180 rule.
Yeah.
And that wasn't something that I really thought about, for my first competition, because I thought like, oh, hey, how I move, like, yeah, it's still in a safe direction. It's literally like, I can send you the picture of like when I literally broke the 180. My firearm is facing towards a vehicle, like inside or towards a truck that was like a thing you had to maneuver around. Yeah. And as soon as like they said stop, I was like, oh fuck, I know exactly what I did. I didn't argue about it. I stayed for most of the day to help reset up targets and things like that. Like I wasn't a dick if I got DQ'd.
Oh, that's nice.
It happens, right? And a lot of people say it's not like if you get DQ'd, it's when. I'm just glad like I got that out of my way like the first one. Now it's like I make sure that I don't fucking do that again. That's why I'm like doing this research and like looking through like videos of like how do these other shooters do it, and it is completely gamifying of your movement. For competition versus like what would you expect in like a real world situation, so it's just something to be aware of, and it's something to work on also, which is cool for me. It's like shooting is fun because it's a constant like self-improvement system.
It's not something that you're an expert at and then you have nothing else left to learn. Like
for me, like, hey, I got really good with pistol and rifle. I started shooting shotgun a lot more. I started shooting like skeet and trap and competition clays, and like it's funny because like Fuzz will like look at my Beretta 1301 because it's the Langdon Tactical that's all like Gucci'd out and like tactical, right? Fantastic fucking shotgun. It's basically the same cycling action as like their M400 or whatever, like their actual like competition shotgun, and like I'll still hit clays with a red dot sight on it, just because I'm used to aiming with a red dot, and so I have one on a shotgun.
Hey, if it works.
Yeah, if it works for you, if it works for you, and like practice with what you got. Like I'm not going to go out and spend $2,500, which is like the low or like middle range for like a over under shotgun.
That's wild.
Like those things go up to like $24,000.
Yeah, for sure.
Hello, everyone. This is an ad for our Patreon, so if you don't feel like listening to it, then feel free to fast forward for about a minute. But if not, I would love to talk to you about it. On that super cool website that allows us to funnel this desire to make a podcast into a shameless cash grab, you can get a whole bunch of free stuff. We have multiple tiers available with some sweet perks ranging from stickers to discount codes to shirts and a lot of other things that are exclusive only to our Patreon. Your contributions will help us pay for more spiked coffee beverages and will help Andrew and I to start a shoe company that will overthrow the Will-Be Empire and bring wide shoes to all of the land. The link is in our Instagram bio or on patreon.com/abetterway2a. So check it out. Or don't. But it would be cooler if you did. Anyway, back to the show. Enjoy.
That's a whole different level. That's like you're talking about like metal inlays and engravings and things like that.
I've actually shot one of those. So I lived in Doha, Qatar, in the Middle East.
Wow.
I was over there teaching English and tutoring for the IELTS, so International English Language Standardized Test.
Yeah, cool.
I've lived fucking all over. But I actually got the chance to shoot at the Qatari Olympic complex for shooting for skeet there.
Wow.
So I actually got to shoot one of those like $24,000 fucking shotguns.
That's pretty sweet.
Was it crazy?
Was it significantly different than shooting a Langdon Tactical?
So since it was an over under, like yes, just based off of that alone, but it didn't like recoil much at all. In comparison to like you get a Mossberg, $500, $300 shotgun, which I think they're like $500 now because of inflation and shit. But like if, you shoot a pump action shotgun with slugs or something like that, like your shoulder hurts at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Some of those like expensive over unders, like even though there's no like buffer system, like my Beretta 1301 has it's like a spring and piston system.
Yeah.
In the bottom. So it shoots incredibly light regardless of the load. Those expensive over unders are like pretty soft shooting. Like they're really comfortable to shoot. You're also doing target loads and stuff.
Yeah,
but
I'd never think that.
That's crazy.
But with that, going back to like, hey, people spending money on this stuff, quality training is important. Don't just go out and buy Gucci stuff. If you have the means to financially, like by all means, I'm not here to police anybody's purchasing decisions. I own a bunch of like random shit, like
please don't.
MPX for competition, MCX, like a Bren. Like I own random shit. I'm a big fan of
glass houses,
piston-driven guns, though, right? Because that's what I shoot. Like I got a Staccato XC that's waiting in for my background check because I got a up to 2-week wait for Washington.
Oh, what a pain!
It's based off of when the and we also got the mag ban too, which means this next month I'm dropping a ton of money on magazines.
Yeah.
Because you need. Do you need You can still.
You have to have them in your hand and in your possession before July 1st.
How do
Otherwise,
you-
it's considered
Oh, you're
importation.
buying the non-10 round magazines first.
Yeah, I'm buying the non 10 round mags because you're technically grandfathered in. It's
so get
it's
as many
fucking
as you
bullshit.
How do they
It's
prove
so
though? How do they
They
prove?
don't. There's like no way. It's mainly
Yeah.
to cut down the sales of them in the state. But
Oh.
at the same time, like my biggest worry is because it's a misdemeanor just owning it.
Right.
Unless you're grandfathered in, which they don't have any freaking way to prove that you're grandfathered in or not.
Yeah, because they're non-serialized.
Yep, they're non-serialized. Some of the Magpul ones have date stamps on them.
But you can
A lot of mags don't have date stamps on them.
I'm so glad they thought this through.
Yeah, so it's like this terrible law that, they haven't really fully faced or realized, like, oh, hey, this is what this actually is about and this is what it affects. But, like, for me, if I can still carry, let's say if I can still carry a Glock 19, that has a 15-round standard mag in it, right? I'm going to carry it with a fucking 15-round mag in it. But if I get stopped by a police officer, that's grounds to confiscate my stuff until an investigation happens because that's a misdemeanor for me owning that 15-round mag.
Even if it's listed as one of the mags that you own?
There is no, like, list.
Yeah.
It's just...
Wow.
There is no, like, photo requirement, but it's still grounds for me to be, like, hassled over having a...
Yeah, it's like probable cause.
That's so silly.
A high capacity magazine at that point, which is a misdemeanor. So we'll see how, like, much that actually gets fucking prosecuted. But I can imagine the absolute shit show that happens once it does. Because, like, yeah, I have a Glock 19 and I have a 365X. The 365X also has a 15-round mag.
Yeah. Well,
like,
enjoy.
If I get pulled over and stopped by a police officer, and I'm like, yeah, hey, they ask me if I'm still carrying. I say, yeah. They ask me to cut out the vehicle. They pull out, where's your pistol at? I tell them. They, pull it out for me. That's a misdemeanor right there, up to a $10,000 fine and up to 11 months in prison.
That's crazy. So,
unless I can prove, like, hey, I owned this before.
So after we have similar laws in Connecticut, and we can't have over 10-round magazines and whatnot, and I have an M&P 40, which comes standard with 15-round mags. And when I bought it, it was before the mag ban went into effect. I got into a motorcycle accident. I had to go to the hospital in an ambulance, and I was carrying on me. And I remember when the trooper came with the ambulance, I was like, hey, I have a gun on me. I can't bring this to the hospital. I'm assuming they're going to cut my pants off. And I gave it to him, going to get it from them. And everything was legal. I had everything legal. It was we had to register our mags that were over 10 rounds when this ban went into effect. And luckily I was in the military at the time, so I had like a grace period. But when I went to go pick it up,
give it back to you?
They tried telling me, they were like, no, these are illegal. You can't have them. And I was like, no, I can have them. They're legal. They're registered, quote unquote, whatever you want to call it, even though there's no serial number on there. And it was like this big to do. And they were saying the same thing. They were going to fine me. It was going to be it's actually a Class D felony in Connecticut.
Jesus. Yeah, it's just a misdemeanor here, but like.
Yeah, and
which at that point, like, they confiscate all of your guns, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're like,
exactly, and it was
you're felon at that point.
This is breeding contempt for the law, is what it is.
Oh yeah, and this is the only thing that they've ever done to breed contempt for them.
Right.
Yeah, right. This is where it started.
This is what's getting the right to get on board. But yeah, no, it was this like good luck with that, and I hope you never have to deal with any of the patrolmen, because odds are it's only going to be the supervisors and above who are actually going to know the law for the first couple months or years.
And with that too, it's like, who are they going to target with that? Like, it's always marginalized folks that get targeted with that stuff, you know?
What neighborhoods are over-policed? What neighborhoods have more interactions with the law and would be statistically more likely to get into trouble with that as a result?
Exactly. And so we talked about this before, Jordan. It's like, liberals do this and they don't realize the actual impact for other people or the harm it places to other people, because they focus more on, like, this is hurting the people I don't like, which is like, right-wing ultra conservatives who own firearms. Like, that's all they really focus on. They don't really, and some of them will even admit, like, oh, hey, yeah, who was it? Firearms Policy Coalition did that video with their lawyer for, like, the Young Turks. And the guy was all like, yeah, he blatantly said, like, gun laws will, affect marginalized by POC communities far more than anybody else, but I still support, increasing more gun laws.
Yeah, perfect.
Like
example.
totally being aware of the fact that it does, but because it's like
Was that Hassan Piker?
No, that wasn't Hassan's. That was one of their other ones. Hassan doesn't do any of the TYT stuff anymore.
Oh, okay.
I watch him on Twitch all the time. He has good content.
So there was actually a study done in regards to that. I forget who did it and who put it on, so I'm not even going to try to remember that. But they took two groups and they put these people who were in these groups, they split them up. They took a number of marbles in a jar, and they had people guess how many marbles were in the jar. And regardless of what they guessed, they separated these people into two groups, overestimators and underestimators, just to give them some kind of identity with their group. And what they started having them do was tasks that would pay them in money. They'd get $1, $2, $3 for completing these tasks. And if they won, they got money, and if they lost, they got nothing. They got to these tasks where the winner could choose to receive less money if the loser got nothing, or if the winner received more money, then the losers would still get a couple bucks. The winners would choose the majority of times to receive less money, knowing that it gave their opponents nothing, rather than accepting more money and giving their opponents something. So
Right.
Just for the sole purpose of hurting their opponents, they would choose the outcome that hurt them as well. And it was a crazy thing to realize that, like, people do that in politics. People do that in society. They will go along with policies and go along with laws that they might know hurt people they care about, but because they hurt people they dislike more, or in their eyes, in their perspective more, even if it's not the case, they're totally okay with it.
It's the human condition, right?
It's wild. It's absolutely wild, and I'm surprised I got through all of that without messing it up. But
yeah, and I don't know if I necessarily believe that that's essentially human behavior. I think that's conditioned into us. I think that's a societal thing. That doesn't
100%.
That doesn't feel like something that I just naturally know. I think that's just a result of people getting the short end of the stick time and time again in other situations. Personally,
Yeah.
that's just my
no, it's possible, and that's the thing about experience and all that stuff, is that it's different for every person, and that could influence how you choose the outcomes differently than it could influence how I choose the outcome, and that's
Yeah, for me, the big turning point was, like, I came to realization, like, as an Asian person in America, like, I've always been treated differently throughout my entire life.
Yeah.
And, like, if I'm not helping other marginalized communities also stick up and defend themselves, like, who's going to help me when it happens for me as well? So it's this crazy thing of, like, oh, hey, regardless of, how we view these laws or how we what the left and libs are doing versus the right, it's like we need to help each other in our communities first and foremost and build stronger communities. That's like the best thing you could possibly do, because we don't have unlimited funding. We aren't millionaires or anything like that. Like, I'm pretty financially stable. I have everything that I need. Now it's like I can spend my time helping other people train and get this training that they need without, breaking the bank. Because you go to even just a general NRA class, it's still like $120. And if I'm cutting it for $100 and then being like, hey, if you're having an issue paying even that, hit me up, I'll give you a discount. Like, that stuff's important. Like, I'd rather have people who know how to fucking shoot that.
Somebody can watch your back,
Yeah, all it does is build up stronger communities, and people are more aware of gun safety and, like, safe storage and all this other stuff. Because, like, yeah, gun laws are great. It's basically slapping a Band-Aid over a giant, wound. It's not treating the actual symptoms for it or giving somebody, a placebo pill of, like, hey, we actually need to raise people out of poverty and to have, chances of education and bettering their lives versus the actual causes of gun violence or violent crime versus the tool that is used in them specifically.
exactly.
But even then, like for the education aspect though, like everybody's shouting critical race theory and like this is literally American history, right? Like
Yeah.
I wasn't taught about Black Wall Street and, you know,
No,
Tulsa.
definitely not.
and I'm not. I think like some schools might be touching on that of like, hey, this happened
Yeah, like
literally
now.
less than 100 years ago, and people think like, oh, it's so long ago when it was like literally a generation or two.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think some people, you know, we have the media to blame for that getting blown out of proportion, because you have some people who believe that it's all about white guilt. It's all about like teaching my kids to hate themselves because they're white. And I think a lot of that is like projecting of these parents who may or may not feel guilty for the shit that that they grew up with. I mean, because a lot of our parents grew up in the 60s and grew up during the civil rights movement. And depending on who your parents were, I mean, they may or may not have been on one side or the other of that. And if I was the kind of person who grew up maybe on the wrong side of history, I don't know if I'd want my kids to learn about the things that I was part of back then. And, you know, they would have a different perspective of me. So, I mean, I can see...
Wasn't it that picture of the ice cream shop with the BIPOC folks inside of it, and then like everybody standing around them, all the white people, just like mean mugging them?
That was that like a sit-in? That was a sit-in, I think.
Yeah,
right?
there was a sit-in at a diner, and
wow.
it's like I'm sure that the people who were in that photo don't want to be like, you know, posted
Outed.
like, hey, outed.
Can you imagine tagging that photo on Instagram now? Like
but-
tagging those people's
Yeah,
Instagram.
exactly.
Hold on. Wasn't there an actual historical photo of a? Where you're talking about like the original photo from like the 50s or whatever, right?
Yeah. For that
Okay.
sit-in.
Okay. All right.
And like teaching like, hey, this wasn't that long ago, and then like, let's say you lived in that town though, right? It's like that's your grandparents.
For sure.
People disassociate with that though, and they're like, I don't want to recognize my grandparent. Like,
yeah, you don't want
before
to see
my
your
grandfather
grandparents
passed,
as bad
like,
people.
realizing like some of the shit he said, like as I was growing up, like yeah, he meant well for the most part for other people, but he said some like racist shit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be viewed as that, because as you get older too, one of those things, and we talked about this before the show started, was like the fear of your own mortality, right? Like that's why a lot of people end up going towards religion and shit like that as they get older, because they want to go to that good place when they pass. Versus like for me, like I don't believe in religion. I'm just like, if I die, I'm going to decompose in the dirt somewhere, and hopefully like a nice tree grows where I you know pass. But you know, they don't want to be remembered for things like that. So, like, if we can scrub it from the history books and to ignore it, then, you know, it's basically like it skims over the shitty things that they have done as a person.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too that there's this a big part of the white response to accusations of racism is that I think that we have this sort of like cartoonish definition of what racism is and what it does that sort of like pervades the popular consciousness, where it's like if you display so let me back up. So like racism is like a vicious, active, and evil endeavor that people follow in the minds of a lot of white people. And so if you accuse them of something like casual racism, like, you know, hey, I don't want you to use that word, I don't want you to talk that way, maybe you've got some bad assumptions, and what they hear is, you know, you're an evil, vicious, murdering rapist, or racist. Sorry. And
either way is bad.
Yeah, either way.
And so they're like, no, that's not me. That's not me. I'm not that person. I'm not an evil, vicious person.
Yeah.
You know, I am essentially a good person, and they can't parse the difference between, you know, the more modern kind of conception of you know, everyday racism, of you know, prejudices and things like that, because they're sort of like stuck on this idea of like, if I'm racist at all, I'm worthless.
Well, in reality,
one of the big issues with like leftists too, though, is like this whole kind of system that's built upon like gatekeeping of like, I'm more leftist than you. You've done this one shitty thing. I'll forever hold it against you. Or just like blatantly making shit up about somebody, which is something that happened to me. And it's like no proof, like literally nothing. Everybody who's ever gone to one of those classes has like nothing but good things to say about me.
Hold on. What do you? Let's elaborate on that. What are you talking about? This is what happened to you.
So I had one person who tried to fast jacket me and then say that I wasn't Asian because I didn't have enough melanin in my skin tone.
What?
And it's like, yeah, that part's kind of funny. So like that part I like. I kind of laughed off because it's just like, here's pictures of me with my Asian family.
Oh my
like here's pictures of me as a kid. And then fast jacking, which is just like, because I was former military, like who gives a fuck? Like I'm out here trying to help people now. Like yeah, it was kind of like bro vetty like back in like 10 years ago, and probably had some like more questionable politics and decisions from like being more libertarian. But like since then, I've obviously got more left.
What's that word you're using? In case people don't know it, like myself.
Was that fast jacketing?
Yes.
Fast jacketing. Yeah, so it's basically calling somebody like a fascist or like alt-right person without kind of like any proof or anything
just
like
as
that.
Like
just like fed jacketing or cop jacketing. Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
I see.
Today I learned.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
So yeah, that happened, and then because there was no proof of me actually being like fucking alt-right, because I don't associate with anybody. Like literally I stay at home and I hang out with my dog, and then I just like my social time is going out teaching people how to fucking shoot.
Yeah,
like an Asian John Wick.
Right? Try to be. A little bit heavier though. Actually, Keanu Reeves is like what, a quarter Asian, half Asian?
I don't know. Is he?
He is, yeah.
Sweet. Well, I mean, look, there you go.
There you go.
Because everybody, when he came
so
out with 47
you're like a
Samurai,
regular John Wick.
When he came out with 47 Ronin, everybody was like, he's not even Asian, and it's just like, no, he's like half. And I remember that being a whole discussion.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like, yeah. Also, Ken Watanabe is badass.
You ever that reminds me of the. I know we're getting off topic here, but who's the the actress in Parks and Rec?
Sorry, say that again.
The actress in Parks and Rec. She has a black father. Do you know who I'm talking about? So she had her hair in braids in one of these award shows, and somebody called her out on it, and they were like, that's not cool. It's like, you're pretending to be black.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She was like, my dad is black, and the reporter had no clue whatsoever. Are you looking it up right now?
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find who it is.
Oh man, it's blowing my mind.
Oh, it's she played Ann Perkins, Rashida Jones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But
but she's got cred too. She hung out with Tupac. Like
the gatekeeping around this stuff is just like absolutely nutty,
and like from people that have no actual
place.
stake in it. It's like
the
white liberals telling you that you can't wear braids or that you're not Asian. Who are you, man? Like what?
Yeah, like this dude was in like Arizona. Like I honestly they were not well, and I hope that they get the help that they need. But it was just like crazy, and then it like escalated from there, and they were like making up other stuff, and it was just like, yo, I'm just gonna drop this, like block you, whatever, fucking say whatever you want to say.
Imagine
there's no proof, right? There's no proof, and
I think you're a racist alt-righter because you don't have enough melanin to be truly Asian.
How ironic
is that? Dysmorphia and shit. Like I grew up and I got cut a ton of racist shit growing up because, like, again, I lived in a very predominantly white area. Even more so when I was a kid because I lived in like this small like outskirt town in Washington called Washougal, and there's like 95% white people.
And wouldn't those white people that were mean and racist to you, wouldn't they be thrilled to know that you made it and you're finally a white alt-righter?
Right? God, they would be so proud. They'd probably still call me
like,
racist.
I didn't think you had it in you, buddy.
Good job, Chief.
It's like, he has a shaved head. Well, I have a shaved head because I'm balding.
And
then I have a beard because, like...
Nope, that's a dog
whistle. Once you don't
have
any more hair on the top of your head, you just gotta go somewhere else, right? Like, you gotta balance that out somewhere. Plus, I'm pretty blessed with, like, a nicely shaped dome. I'm sure, Jordan, in the...
Hashtag blessed.
Right? In the military, you saw people with all kinds of, like, goofy scalps and things like that from, like, having a shaved head.
Yeah, me. I have a horrible shape.
Were you one of those people that like the ridges and stuff?
I have an arachnoid cyst in the back right quarter of my head. It's about the size of
What is an arachnoid cyst?
It's think of it as like a benign tumor filled with something. I don't know. Like the size of a tennis ball. And you can't see it while I have hair on. You can't see it while my hair is long. But when I shave my head, it sticks out like a bump under my head, under my skull.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's wild.
So it looks like you got like a horn or something, like kind of like poking out there.
It looks like when you take a ball of Play-Doh and you just spent way too much time on like one side. Like you're
yeah, it's like for those reasons I was fascist.
Yeah.
Like
military
has
no,
a beard.
good for you for having a round head. I wish I had a round head and could shave my head. I did once and I thought I looked cool, but I didn't.
It saves me on trips to the barber. Though my self-care is now going out to my barber in Portland and getting like a hot shave. Like
nice. Yeah.
Hot towel, everything. Like they do a fantastic job, and that's like self-care to me. That's like relaxation. Spend an hour and a half there, and it's just like going to a massage parlor, and like relaxing.
You want to drop a shout out to your barber? Unless you don't for doxing
security
purposes.
reasons. Yeah. You know what?
Slaptown Barbershop. It was minority owned, and they just sold it to some of their other barbers who are LGBTQ community members. They are fucking fantastic.
What's it called?
Slaptown Barbershop.
Oh, that's
Slaptown?
cool. Slaptown.
Yeah.
Slaptown. If I'm ever in the area, I'll check out Slaptown Barbershop.
Yeah, for what I know, they still wear masks and everything there too, even though the mandates are lifted. Speaking of mask stuff, I went to a punk show, like a hardcore punk show, a couple days ago. And
That's a mixed bunch.
I love my fucking community because like mask mandates are lifted, everybody there was wearing a mask.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
It was just like the coolest thing to see because I saw like Deftones and Gojira last week. And, like, Gojira is fantastic live.
Oh my god,
they sound like their albums live. Like it's crazy.
That is cool.
But like nobody there was masked up, and then I got plenty of like weird looks because like we're inside of the Rose Garden, like
I feel like if for the amount of people who have been saying personal rights, personal freedoms, don't want to wear masks, they should give the same benefit of the doubt to somebody who does want to wear a mask. Like,
yeah,
100%.
That,
also,
that's
other
the
people
one,
are
but they
fucking
don't
dirty
because we're fucking.
Yeah.
It's like
We're sheep.
I'm a dirty sheep liberal for wearing a mask. Man, I went so long without getting COVID, dude. I thought I was gonna make it through, never getting COVID. I thought I was.
I have so far, knock on wood.
Yep.
I'm not planning on getting COVID anytime soon.
Man, I wasn't
Andrew
either.
just
but
got it.
I'm just getting over it right now. That's fucking wild.
Coming short on time. Did we miss anything? Any good questions that you got?
The only thing, and I kind of didn't work it into the episode because I wanted to be able to cut it out if you weren't comfortable with it. But I wanted to see if you wanted to talk about the Arm Your Friends controversy.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about that.
I don't know how much time you have and how much you want to get into it, but
so there's a Reddit post on liberal gun owners as well as Socialist RA in regards to that. I'm sure if you Google it, I posted up a bunch of receipts for it too. So my big issue with that was mandatory range days, which they had volunteer people go out. Like, if you're volunteering for something, cool. At the very least, what you can do as a company is provide them with fucking liability insurance.
Yeah.
Because if something happens, right, it is now on the hands of the person who organized that, which is their regional coordinator. So, thankfully, nothing ever happened, but I brought this up, and it's been brought up before I even joined, and was, their mamba or whatever. In regards to that, and like taking care of people in case of like legal liability stuff, because that's important, especially when you're doing something as dangerous as running around with guns. So as an instructor, like I obviously have my insurance and liability insurance all set. The range I have waivers with that I use, which is private land, but it's also one of those things which is like they never even really consider that. So that was a big issue. Yeah. And then there was issues with other trainers as well, like payment issues and posting issues of like, you have the wrong dates for my class, you have the wrong location, you have the wrong time, you have all this incorrect information on there that needs to be fixed. And it literally continued to happen and continued to happen and continued to happen. And then, once something becomes like a vanity show for one person, that's not something I necessarily want to be a part of. If you can't demonstrate proper gun safety in a video of you talking shit, like, and again, this goes into like, the beginning of our conversation with like knowing your skill level, right? And not just like sticking in your lane, but being humble and willing to learn and to like be better and to, if you can't demonstrate proper gun safety, you probably shouldn't be showing other people.
Do you think it was just like an issue of getting too big too quick, or do you think it was? Because I mean, I try to give people the benefit.
I think it has to do with like the SRA, like
Really.
Leadership, centralized, like one person thinking that they know what's best for everybody versus like my local SRA chapters are great. I've met several people from in both Portland and up north in Seattle. Like they're all fantastic people. Red House though in Portland was kind of a shit show, which you can Google that. That was the whole thing. But for the most part, the people in the SRA are fantastic. When it comes to centralized leadership, calling the shots for communities that they have no skin with, like no skin in the game, no actual relationships with these people, I think there's a lot of issues that happen from that specifically.
Right.
So yeah, I did have a lot of freedom with like how I ran my classes, how I interacted with people through Army of Friends, and I met a lot of really great people through them. But I think leadership, failing to actually listen to like people who know what they're talking about, which is myself, in regards to like, hey, we need to offer liability insurance for these people because if somebody does get hurt and there's like an ND, their life is now literally destroyed.
Yeah.
So
sure.
Being aware of stuff like that and then actually like heeding that advice versus like, oh, well, I'm going to delete these posts now,
Yeah.
and like bury it under the rug, or like, doing things for clout. Like I said before, shooting steel at 5 yards with a pistol or like 25 yards with the AR-15. Like, yeah, it looks cool for the gram, but at the same time, like you're showing these people like, oh, look at this cool stuff that is potentially dangerous to them. Like you probably shouldn't be shooting, round after round into steel plates at 15 yards with an AR.
Yeah, definitely.
Those things are going Mach 3 and then they fragment, and then
Yeah.
it can sometimes get kicked back.
I mean,
for
I've
that fragmentation.
fragged plenty of times, and it's not from
Yeah, it's
farther
not-
distances than that, and it's not pleasant.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, do these things, do it safely, and like you're showing people who don't know what good is, what your standards of that is, and it's not right.
Well, and we all have that responsibility to new shooters to guide them properly and to make sure that they're getting good information and have good resources available to them. So it's
Exactly.
It's sad. Like, I really hope they figure their stuff out, because it's cool to have, in my opinion, the more left leaning gun organizations, the better. It's sad when you see
100%.
like a fall from grace or whatever happened with them happen, because it hurts us more than it hurts people on the right. I mean, there's a right wing gun ranges and right wing gun organizations are a dime a dozen, but with us there's not a whole lot out there. So
yeah, I actually flew out to Texas and shot with a bunch of them. That was like an eye opening experience for me though.
I saw that. Yeah, you were mentioning that.
Far more interested in like taking photos and posing than actually like running drills and stuff like that, which I'm not really about. Like if you look at my Instagram, like I'll post up photos of like my guns and shit like that, but I won't like specifically like go out of my way to like record shit of myself or have somebody record it unless it's competition. At that point I can actually go through and like frame by frame see like exactly what I'm doing and where I can improve. But that's more for me. Less so for like I'm gonna show like post this up to show how cool I am, doing this buddy drill with my other friend who's prior service, like learning how to bound or showing other people how to bound, because like I don't give a fuck about that. My role isn't necessarily to teach people how to bound, it's to teach people how to be like comfortable, confident, and capable with their firearms. Like that's my ultimate goal.
I think there's a lot of I think there's a lot of value to messaging and aesthetics, but I agree that can't really come at the cost of doing dangerous things and putting people in financial peril, potentially. Streetwear is cool. I love their shirts. I love their brand. I love all of their marketing, their posts, with the exception of one kind of questionable one that I think got deleted. Are all very cool and stylish.
Which post? Because they deleted everything.
Oh, really? Oh, I don't know. I haven't checked around.
They scrubbed their entire social media, which kind of tells you something. That's like
it was one where it kind of like I knew it was a joke, but it kind of looked like he might have been.
The Fed posting one.
The
Yeah.
Fed posting one, yeah. But anyways, I think that being cool and stylish and posing and making cool social media content, making cool shirts, I think that's great. But it was really frustrating to learn that was like their absolute focus, as opposed to that was something they were building on top of a foundation of solid training and good, financial and personal responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference between like saying and doing something, though, right? So, like,
Right,
when I did my
exactly.
first sex workers class through Army of Friends, that was my decision to do it. That was my call to do it. That was my like promotion for it, right? For them, it was like, this is for a new T-shirt drop.
Right.
There's a difference between the two of
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm out here to help these people that we're going to be talking about and that are, at risk of violence just doing their job, versus I'm going to use this to sell a T-shirt,
Yeah.
Which streetwear is cool. Like, I love work club stuff. I like, Ford
Yeah.
Observation Group and all that other stuff because bro Vetty. And
Listen, there's a little bro vet in all
you
of
should
us.
see my sneaker collection. Like, I'm kind of a hype beast, just as much as I am with my rifles and shit.
I wish I could collect more sneakers, but well, Jordan can tell you. We didn't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
that thing
This
about
show is
that.
not sponsored by Whoopies.
Yeah.
Need to get a StockX sponsorship.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, fashion's cool, but at the same time, like, our ultimate goal, like you said, should be to like train people to get good and to like know what good is, and to from there be able to pass those skills to other people, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want somebody to just keep taking one-on-one class after one-on-one class with me. I want them to be able to like leave with skills that they can go home and dry fire, or that they can go and next time on the range go and demonstrate and practice, versus like being stuck in this perpetual loop of we're just going to do this low
Right.
speed shit, right?
So you've said stuff like that a few times throughout this interview, and I just want to point out that what you're drilling down on is really the core of teaching itself. That the whole point of teaching, and my understanding of, because I have been to school, but the whole point of being taught is not to just like memorize things and then repeat them. It's to learn how to then go learn more stuff.
Yeah,
And
to share that knowledge as well, because the best way that
Yeah.
you can actually learn something is
Is to
to
teach it.
teach somebody else as well. There's a lot of good shooters that are really bad teachers,
Yeah.
but there aren't going to be any good shooting instructors who are bad shooters. Like, if you have a shooting instructor that can't hit a target, like, you might have issues because they can't even demonstrate what they're trying to show you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But with that, on the flip side, that there aren't as... You can't just be a good shooter and be a good teacher. Like, you have
Yeah,
to know
for
how
sure.
to do those other aspects of it and to explain these concepts rather than just be like, do exactly what I'm doing. I mean, I have said in classes, like, hey, I can't shoot for you, which I can't. But I can give you the skills and the knowledge of, like, this is what a proper grip actually needs to feel like in your hands. This is how your sights need to be aligned. Red dots make that so much easier, where it's like you can focus entirely on your grip pressure and your trigger pull, because where that red dot is where holes go, right?
Yeah.
Modern instructors need to be caught up with like modern techniques and modern tools and modern things that are, very, very useful for both training as well as like, I'm a lot faster shooting with the red dot than I'm iron sights. I can still shoot iron sights, and they're transferable from red dot skills, like my grip pressure, my trigger press, all that stuff. But, you have these people who are like, oh, hey, these old fuddy instructors are like, oh, hey, that red dot's going to fail on you when you need it most. It's like,
Yeah.
nah, I replace my batteries once a year on my birthday, right?
Well, and I feel like that kind of ignores the myriad of other ways that guns mechanically fail, and always have, long before the advent of red dot sights.
Yeah. During my 201 classes, we actually, my favorite part, I do malfunction drills. I do induce malfunctions through spent brass casings in the magazine, as well as, the Magpul. This podcast isn't sponsored by Magpul, but their dummy rounds are pretty cheap.
We're not sponsored by anybody.
Right. But the Magpul dummy rounds are pretty inexpensive, and you can get 5.56 ones. So I use those, and that teaches people, like, you get an open bolt malfunction if you have a spent casing, right? Because it doesn't fit back into the actual chamber. to be able to actually inspect and see what kind of malfunction you have, and then from there appropriately clear that is very important. Because if you're dropping a mag on a closed bolt malfunction when all you need to do is just rack back the charging handle, you're spending a lot of extra time, right? Because you're racking that back, you're taking out the mag, you're putting it back in, racking in another round. That takes up more time than just like, oh, hey, all I need to do is close bolt, just pull back the charging handle. That round that's, failure to fire, more than likely, gets kicked out, new round comes in.
Yeah.
Versus like, hey, I had an open bolt malfunction. If I do that same drill, because it's open bolt, that round or that casing isn't going to get stripped because it's no longer, centered and it's like canted in there. Now I have a double feed and I made my life just so much worse. So like that's one of my favorite things to do in my 2-1 class is like I induce malfunctions for people and be like, have your buddy that you're paired up with for the day load up your mags so that you can go through and you don't know when it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And so that's always a really fun one for me because I get to see how people react under stress while they're trying to work through this whole mag that like literally, half of it is going to be malfunctions.
That is
but
really
I can't
cool.
stress that the importance of being able to like know how to clear your rifle efficiently and effectively, because malfunctions do happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, more frequently than batteries die while you're shooting.
Yeah, and normally if it's your optics dead, it's because you didn't actually tighten on your plate enough. And with modern optics now, most of those companies have fantastic freaking warranties.
Yeah,
like HoloSun, Vortex. I run EOTech on all my rifles just because, I really enjoy their sights.
I had a flickering Trijicon RMR. I did troubleshooting myself, and nothing fixed it, and I sent it in, and they were like, "Yeah, it's broken." They just sent me another one for free.
Yeah, I mean, it's a worthwhile investment to increase your shooting skills pretty dramatically, pretty freaking quick with modern technology, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like LPVOs, which are the new hotness, are great. Like it allows you to shoot accurately up to like 100 yards plus, way further than that. But if you want to put like, one in MOA groups, an LPVO definitely helps you get that consistent sight picture versus a red dot sight.
Yeah,
true story.
And then also magnifiers now. I've never been a huge fan of them. Just my personal preference. Like if I run something that's magnified, I'd rather do an LPVO. But even then, like they're fantastic. I actually have. I'm ordering a G45 because I got a Unity mount for it for my MCX.
Nice.
Because the thing I don't like most about them is it throws off the kind of the balance of the rifle versus being in a straight line. Because some of those magnifiers are freaking heavy, so it gets kicked over to the right, and then rather than do that, like the Unity raises up and down basically. So I'm hoping that solves my issue with them, and I can be like, oh, magnifiers are kind of cool. Otherwise, like LPVOs on most of my stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Those are important considerations.
Yeah. I mean, it's different strokes for different folks, right? Like, get what you're comfortable with, what you like. But you don't know that as a new shooter. So if you're doing that and you're just dropping money, like you're gonna just end up replacing shit all the time. Versus like, get something that's kind of like beginner friendly and usable, that's within your budget, that works well, like an arrow. Run that shit into the ground, and then from there figure out like, hey, this is what I really like. It's not like you can't resell that rifle on like Gunbroker or like a pawn shop or a local gun shop and like have it for sale and 100%. Get your money back. Of course, do the FFL transfer and all that shit because obviously legal. But like firearms maintain their value pretty good if you get something that's decent. Like,
well, especially
if you're buying a high point, no. If you get like an arrow precision rifle, if you get a Glock, like you're pretty much gonna get like maybe $50 less than what you paid for it.
Yeah,
or more, depending on the market.
That's encouraging.
Especially, well, if you sell it on Gunbroker for sure, but don't go to your local gun shop.
Yeah, because they'll charge you.
You're gonna get
some of them are okay, but some are.
Yeah, but they have to make money too. So
I went to go sell. Some handguns that I just like wasn't using at a local place, and they're like, that I found no, they're just I just hadn't shot them in a while. I was like, you know what, I should just sell these. So I went to this local place that's like, hey, we specialize in buying your guns. I was like, oh, that sounds like the right place. And first thing he did, he opened it up and he smelled my gun It's a Sig P230, and he says this smells like a crack house.
Where you're like, I was
I'm
shooting
like-
cheap ammo through it. Like
I was like,
cool.
what? He's like, this is dirty and it smells like a crack house. Wow. I'll give you $200 for it.
Jeez.
This smells. First of all, sir, how do you know what a crack house smells like?
Yeah.
Second of all, not my business.
So, one type of round for 9mm that I like literally love the smell of is cellular and bellet.
Yeah.
It
Right?
has this different smell than any other
It just
pistol
hits
cartridge
different.
for 9mm. It smells so fucking good to me for some reason. I love shooting it. But yeah, it smells different than like Norma or like Remington, Winchester, all that shit. Like
Yeah,
it just has this very distinct smell as it like from the gunpowder.
Yeah.
I don't
I've
know.
never paid attention to this before.
Yeah, smell,
Now you're
smell,
like
smell
gonna
your
like
gun.
Yeah,
fire
now I'm
off
gonna
a
have
round,
to
set
go
it down,
do it.
like start helping.
When I start asking guys like behind the counter, but what does this one smell like?
Oh yeah, when you shoot it, what's it smell like? What's the?
Are we
what's the
missing a
terroir?
market like scented rounds,
Possibly.
scented cartridges?
Just
Are
do
we
some
missing-
like
potpourri?
sage inside
Yes.
mixed in with the gunpowder.
Yes.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
It's to ward off the evil spirits too.
Yes.
Yes.
I would use that.
We can make different grain scents for different intensities.
All right,
This is a
Mr.
win.
Tank Pig, you got a class to get to. So before
Yeah. Anything
we
else
sign
before?
off,
you have a
yeah. We will, go ahead, Jordan.
No. I insist, Andrew.
Okay. Do you have any little, just one last little tip, just a little one, that can improve people's quality of life? Doesn't have to be gun related. Just something that's on your mind that you really want people to know.
Do the things that make you happy and fuck everything else. Like literally. Especially
Like
with firearm
literally
stuff,
fuck
like,
everything else, or
No, no, Jordan.
like all the small petty stuff, all the gatekeeping, like it doesn't matter. Just continue to do what you do and try
Yeah.
to make the world a better place. Like that's why I joined the military, was to try to make the world a better place and to help people. That's why I'm doing what I do right now, is to help people and to have them be comfortable around something I really enjoy. Like us talking about gun stuff, like usually I'm a really kind of like more quiet, shy person, but when it comes to gun stuff, like I'll talk all day,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
I
yeah.
love this stuff, right? And I want to share that hobby and make it accessible and approachable for other people who might not realize, like, hey, where do I start with this? Because it is daunting, and there's a lot of really shitty instructors out there. There's a lot of people who are instructors who shouldn't be instructors, and a lot of
For
people
sure.
don't know that because, you know, they fall for this cool Instagram post. They fall for, you know, this other stuff that's like, oh, hey, I want to jump right into this, versus like getting those steps, right? You gotta start somewhere. And, you know, if anything I ever say seems like it's making fun of new shooters, it's not. It's normally people who are overestimating their own skill level to
Yeah,
try to
for
humble them. You know, because I love talking shit.
cool.
Well,
Well, that's
very
awesome
cool.
advice, man. That's definitely one of the best we've gotten. So we appreciate it. We appreciate you taking the time out of your weekend and your training schedule to talk with us, man. It's been real cool. And
Yeah, I usually have like 2 to 4 one-on-ones every weekend if I don't have classes. And then this week I took some time off, or this month, for you know, just like some personal time, relaxation.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
gotta
then,
have some me time, man.
Yeah, next month I got 4 classes. So
Woo.
yeah, 2 201s for carbine and then 2 101s. So
Busy.
Nice.
those are the ones that I really like teaching, though. Like carbine classes are so much fun. Like teach people how to shoot VTAC and like to do it like quickly and efficiently.
That is cool.
So
Yeah, I want to do that.
come out this way. I got an extra room you can stay at.
Let's take a trip.
All right, I'll bring my RV. I'll bring the whole family.
Sweet.
Yes. Awesome, man. Well, have a good rest of your day, and hope training goes well. And thank you again for coming on.
Yep. Thank you.
We'll
Have a
be in
good one.
touch, man. You too.
All right, peace out, Girl Scouts.
Peace out. Oh, hey, Andrew. It's just us now.
Oh, it's just us now. Oh no, this is the bonus content.
This is the bonus content that nobody stays for. Somebody might stay for. This is the
After
content
the
that you get 40 minutes after silence.
Yeah, 40 minutes of silence, and then you
Yeah.
hear me whispering into the microphone. Okay,
Content. This isn't going in the.
I'm gonna leave.
All right. You're really good at the Irish goodbyes, by the way.
what's an Irish goodbye?
Irish goodbye is when you don't say goodbye, you just leave. Like at a party.
Oh, like, well, how can you? What do you mean, like?